Well, hello there, everyone. I'm just about to get started. Just a moment. So today we're going to be moving around a little bit, so I didn't really specify a biome in the title. Just a moment, just getting some things set up. Alright. But yes, we're going to move around a few places. We're going to experiment with increasing the distance on some of the ground foliage, because it's something I've meant to do for a while, but I haven't really had the time to sit down and test it in depth, how far I can get away with. Just getting a sip of Monster to wake up. Now we're good to go. But yes, how is everyone today? Hopefully doing well. Hello there. You're usually one of the first ones here. I did work on this yesterday. Sorry, my throat's bothering me today. This stream has been here, but I wanted to make it a little bit deeper and wider. It's still shallow, but I felt it was a little too shallow. So I remade this stream yesterday, and there's a new waterfall at the end as well. But the waterfall, we're probably going to redo that today. I just wanted one as a placeholder, kind of, while I figure out how to make it look better. But this is the improved setup. So there's a better waterfall here now, but it's still not quite what I was hoping for. But it's getting there. So one of the things we need to do is set up kind of some borders to this, so it's not just water coming down the side of this mountain. I want to set up some rocks on the sides, things like that. And like I said, we'll also experiment with the ground foliage culling distance. Thank you, I'm glad you think so. I may spend a little too much time in the redwoods. I love it. Little things here and there I've been improving with it. The path material, I finally found one I like, so I replaced it. Just gonna show it off here. And there we are. That is the new material for the path. But yes, we'll move forward, and we're gonna work on the waterfall at the end, probably, to start with. Hello there! But we're probably going to redo the waterfall because I'm not real happy with the result. Well, thank you for dropping in. Hopefully you don't have to wait in line too long. I think we'll probably use these. So we'll probably set up this border first, and then we'll redo the waterfall. But this tool I'm using, the documentation isn't very clear on it. So I haven't been able to make it look like they're examples yet. So we're just going to keep trying. Because I'm not letting it go. We need nice waterfalls. Yeah, I liked it too. I go around in real life a lot and scan things in forests, photo scans and all that. So I've been trying to pay attention to what the paths looked like there. And this, I felt, was a pretty good representation of what it should look like. Want to get a little border set up. It hides the rough edges of things like this. Plus, it also just looks nice. Here we go. It is, let me look at the name again. Shader Source Waterfall Tool 2. The examples look fantastic for it, but I've not been able to get it to look like that yet. I'm not giving up, but it's just a little frustrating when there's not great documentation. Because with a huge map like this, I don't really want to spend a ton of time looking through a bunch of things to find answers that should be in their documentation. But as long as I can get it to look like their examples, I will be happy. Because it's a great tool otherwise. Yeah, ChatGPT is quite useful. I've found it's a little not great for Unreal pretty often. Like, I've never been good at blueprints, which is why I'm not a programmer on our team. And I've tried to get it to help me with blueprints before on just random stuff I've done on my own, and it's never good. Which is probably more my fault. I should be able to spot those things and be like, that's not right. But yeah, I'm a environment guy. Yeah, I think you may be right. I've just been kind of messing around with it. I spent about 2 hours on it yesterday just to get this, and it's still not extremely satisfying. But I think one thing that I can do to make it better, it doesn't seem to do well with slopes like this. If I make it more of a vertical drop, it would work better. Wrong axis. I'm still in my waking up state. I think most of you know by now, it takes me a long time to wake up. So a lot of times when I start the stream, I'm still in that state. I've just never been a morning person, but at the same time, I don't like waking up late. I want to be up early so I can get more done. So I just kind of force myself through it. And eventually I wake up. Luckily, making the other side of this is going to be much faster because I can just copy these over and rotate them around and it'll look different while being much faster to set up. My kids are going absolutely nuts right now. But yes, how's everyone doing today? Hopefully, relaxing day so far. Let's do it this way. And there, that was done only using a few different models, all using the same material. Good for performance and easy to manage. I hate when that happens, when it moves the pivot just because I did, like I duplicated something. It'll be like, oh, I should put the pivot down at the bottom because that's reasonable. I'm gonna move this a little bit. Want it positioned a little better. For the record, this is like the best rock pack I've ever used. I can use them everywhere. And it's literally just called, I think it's called, yeah, rock pack. It's one of those names where you're like, I'm not sure this is going to be good, but then you buy it anyways. And it turns out it's amazing. It's like getting food at one of those tiny places you find in a small town that has a really generic name. And you're like, oh my god, this food is amazing. This will put us in a good position to remake this. Because I ended up sending in the update with this yesterday, but it's more as a placeholder because this waterfall is not doing it for me. Okay. So I'll actually add more to the sides in a little bit, like beside these, to blend it in, but this works as a starting point. So let's pack them all into packed level actors. Okay. Had to make sure I was actually choosing ones over here and not 10 kilometers away. Very good. Put it here. So I've explained it before, but I know it may not be all the same people as before. The thing I just did was turn this into a packed level actor. So it turns it into one actor that I can drag and drop anywhere I want, and it instances them together in the most efficient way possible. Meaning fewer draw calls. And there we go. And I saw that there was a log here. Let's see, these probably go up here. Yes. Actually, I'm gonna go see what that is. I've been trying to make sure I go back and pack everything together. Let's see. This included. Yes. Hello there. I'm doing pretty well, just I've worked on the map a lot yesterday. Definitely stayed up too late. I hope you're doing well as well. Do I have this? Okay. Yeah, I definitely should do a little better about that. I stay up too late pretty often. It's because I'll start doing something, and then I'm like, I don't want to stop. I just want to keep doing it. You get in your flow state and don't really want to stop what you're doing. So that's fine. So in this case, there's not actually going to be a performance benefit to packing these two together because they're using different materials, but organization. I like that. I think that's why I hadn't packed them before, because I set them there and I was like, well, I could put more things similar to this. But yeah, I never got around to it, so for now we'll pack it. Oh yes, look at them logs. I learned Unreal through just by myself. I taught myself. I just loved using it, and I kept forcing myself through it even when it was really difficult. Oh, look at that. Coming in here dropping gifts. Yeah, I just kept pushing through it when I was at the beginning, and I really wanted to make the beautiful places I'd see people make. So I just kept going, and eventually I got better at it and met more people who could help me get even better. And just kept going from there. Definitely a ton of reading. I appreciate it. I'd definitely, if you're looking into it, I'd definitely recommend looking through the source code quite a bit to understand how things work, because the documentation for Unreal is pretty lacking. Okay. Just trying to make sure all of this gets packed together. But yeah, the documentation is kind of the source code is kind of the best source for information, because a lot of times the people in forums are wrong and just parroting what another person said, which isn't really the best way to go. So it's good just to do the reading for yourself. Actually, so I guess some of today's video is going to be some optimization work because of the culling distance work we're going to do. Ooh. And also packing some of these loose actors. I've been trying to make sure that everything is going to be nice and tidy for the upcoming tech demo. Of course, it won't be perfect because it's early access in the end, but I still want to make it as good as possible. That's the way to go. I've never been good at making characters myself, but I love seeing the work, and I love making things in Unreal and Blender. So definitely just keep pushing at it. You never know where it could take you. I never expected to be doing this. If I'd known a few years ago that I'd be working on something like this, or making a map of this scale, it would have blown my mind. Trying to make sure we don't miss anything. So that's way over there. That's what I thought. I knew we had more, right? In fact, why? Oh, it's underwater. See where that is? Okay. That's way over there. So we can pack all these together. But yeah, before you know it, that one map you make could turn into 30 more, and then suddenly you're working on the next Assassin's Creed. You just never know. If it makes you feel any better, I was never confident either sharing my work with people, but I just started doing it anyways. And of course, it wasn't always positive feedback I got, but that helped me get better. I would say it's a good thing to share early on so you can correct any issues you have and then also just get your name out there. Yeah, you could definitely do that. That's my other job. I make foliage assets for nanite, like full geometry and all that. No, I know this isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but optimization is important. Yeah, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun making new things, and it's really satisfying seeing your work used and seeing your finished product. Like if I didn't have bills to pay, I would do everything 3D art related for free. I love it. There's just always something new to learn and improve. You just never really run out of things to do. It looks like I missed a few more up here, yes. Then I can start dragging these around and reusing them, which will be the biggest benefit to doing this. Oh, sorry for the late reply. Yes, it is coming to Steam. We actually already have a Steam page right now, so if you are interested, wishlist it helps us out. You know, this one, for example, it's just one instanced mesh, which is really good for performance. So then you can draw a few things in one call. Oh yes, that is me every day. I'll work for like 12, 14 hours because for me at least, work is no different than what I would do just for fun. I'd be doing this anyways, so may as well just keep doing it. I think we got all the loose stuff. Okay, so we can go back to the waterfall. Had to get sidetracked for a moment. I do need to fix this log. I see it every time I pass by and I'm always like, I'll come back after I do this thing. And then I keep doing things. Yep, 16,000. I don't personally do the sound effects, but we have people on the team that do that. We make them ourselves. I'm sure there are some here and there that we use that were already made, but pretty much everything is made ourselves except for for example, some of the assets on the map weren't made by us, but are heavily modified by us. I did make a lot of the foliage on the map, but not all of it. I'm actually doing the same, computer science. I do drink a lot of coffee and energy drinks. Trying to think. That's a good question. I've never really set up anything for donations. So we can use water simulation for the waterfall, but it often doesn't come out very good because an accurate simulation isn't really what you want for something like this. Because it looks very odd. It's hard to explain. I think I have a waterfall somewhere on the map that was done with a simulation that I just haven't replaced yet, so if I see it, I'll show you, but it generally doesn't look too good. Let's drop this down. Fewer paths. Where are the paths? Oh. There we are. We're all from different places. I'm personally from Texas, but there are some of us in Sweden, South Africa, other parts of the US. There are quite a few of us on the team. So this path, I think, works pretty well for me. Overall, I like it. Let's switch to advanced mode. See what the default settings are. I don't know if it's still set to what I set it to yesterday. Okay, so this is how I set it. We're going to make those a bit wider, for one. Try 1,000 for the width. Yeah, we're kind of all over the place. Probably do fewer subdivisions. I mean, it really doesn't matter because I can use nanite on these waterfalls. we're pretty much always expanding. We just want the game to come out as well as possible, so I'm going to regenerate these paths again. But yeah, we're pretty much always expanding. I don't know what we're looking for right now, because usually that's... Well, not usually. That is Islander that handles that. Let's do more paths. I think some of them... Yeah, this is what happens with it. It'll send some of the paths under the ground for some reason. So this one I feel is going to look kind of weird because it bounced right there. We'll try again. Yeah, it uses physics simulation to generate the paths like this. And then you make the waterfall mesh out of the paths. So sometimes you can get some interesting shapes. How about I move this over a little bit to prevent it from bouncing, hopefully. Let's try again. Well, we plan to be updating it for a long time, so you'll have plenty of time. We still have many things planned for after it fully releases, so even when it's in full release, we're not going to be done with it. We'll be changing the map, adding new things. Let's experiment a little bit. Well, what is that? That's interesting. I think we'll redo the path again. You can see why this takes a little trial and error. It's weird. Yeah, it actually didn't take that long to upload yesterday. I was surprised that it only took like maybe an hour or two to upload. I'm guessing it was mostly smaller files. I really don't like how that one path keeps going into the rocks. Yeah, I'm just hoping one of them was a critical one that we could really use. It looked like almost all of it was external actors for the map. So like, that could be a lot of things, but let's see how that looks. Yeah, I'm still deciding how I want to make the mountains here, because I don't want areas that you can't walk through, except for occasionally. Let's mess around with the bulge setting on this. Set it to something crazy. 1500 YOLO. There are some paths around this, but yeah, it's This portion, at least, isn't meant to be walked down, but I'll probably cut some paths through some of it. What does it look like if I set the bulge amount to something crazy? Oh, look at that. It looks ridiculous. I love it. Let's do more subdivisions and see if that makes it look better. But yeah, this is mainly just a look down. Although that may change. I'm always going back and redoing these things. See, we just have to mess around with it a bit. I think part of the problem is there's not a real good explanation anywhere on what some of the options do, so you just have to kind of try them. Do more smoothing and see if that helps. Okay, that did help one up top that I saw that I didn't like. The other thing I'm curious about, what is this splash option? I mean, I saw it change, but I'm not really sure I see what the change is. Oh yes, water. Does it explain? Splash? What is splash? And this just makes a plane. Is this the splash down here? I think it is. Singular? Yeah, you may be right. But I may just have to redo some things here to make it look the way I want. I'm thinking maybe making this cliff more vertical would be better. Turbulence. We could try messing with that. Turbulence spread upstream. Let's double that and see what happens. Oh, I see. It looks like it's the mesh that's under it. Yeah, you have a point. I do actually have a plan for this, though. I'm planning to make this a much longer river that goes out to the coast there. I just haven't done it yet because I'm making a map for the rivers, running it by Islander to see what he thinks. Turbulence obstacle weight. Turbulence range. Let's see what happens. But you definitely have a point. Not enough water down here. The map is 64 square kilometers. It's pretty huge. In fact, would you like to see a reference for scale? I'll set a little character right here. So this is one of the playable characters for scale. It's pretty huge. And yes, the idea is to have connected rivers so that the aquatics can travel around. So before I was just kind of placing rivers where I felt like putting them, but that's not really the best way to go, so we're going to modify the map we already have of plans so that we can add new plans for where the rivers are going to be, have them connected naturally. Yes, it's an absolutely monstrous map. It's odd when I do the generating VFX, which is pretty important for this, it does nothing. Oh wait. Did that do it? No. But I actually like how this looks more, so I think we'll keep it. Ah, there we go. There's some of the VFX. So maybe that is what has to happen. I generate VFX, then go back and generate a mesh for it. That's what it looks like. Anyways, we'll bake the result to that mesh right there. Hello there. You know, I actually like the idea of cannibal tribes, but I don't know if that's in the plans. I don't think it is. And the island is surrounded by ocean. In fact, I'll be putting more islands out there pretty soon, just distant ones. You will be able to go to them, for the record. But they're mainly just for looks. Okay, so now this is static mesh. And one of my favorite things about this, since our game uses nanite, we can enable nanite on the water meshes because it uses a masked material, which is quite nice. And there we are. It now has nanite. I do want to see if there's anything I can do with the materials to make it look better. So it looks like I do generate each one of those. The plane splashes, per path, and singular. And I did generate them all. Oh yes. I'm still not satisfied quite yet with how the waterfalls have been, but this is better than it was. I do need to add more rocks here though. So let's actually break this packed level actor. Turn this one kind of on its side a little bit. There we go. Now I just need to make sure I'm selecting the right ones, because we have a few of these. Yeah, I agree. It definitely needs more splash at the bottom. So I think I'm about to add that. I just won't use their tool to do it. I have some splash VFX somewhere. And it's something I can keep there too when, even when I resimulate the water here. I was considering doing that on the stream today, but probably be a good idea to map out the streams first. Yeah, I see that. I think you're right. Let's just give it a ton of paths so it ends up where I want, somewhere. I need that. That's good. There we go. Good stuff. I did not do that on purpose, but I see the same thing and I don't like it either, so yeah, we're gonna resimulate that again. That is not what I was wanting. So let's do more paths and see if it ends up better. I actually do have some Easter eggs on the islands right now. Let's do 128 paths, because we can. We might even set the trace distance a little longer too, so it seems to stop like right above the water. That's a good question. I don't know if I can. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Oh wait, never mind. Apparently it resets it when I do that. Let's do a further trace distance. Different seed. Yeah, I was hoping I could select them, but apparently it resets it if I move it. That's still not the vibe. Let's try a different seed again. Wish it would stop shooting them under the waterfall. Why does it do that? Let's adjust the spawning point of those traces. Put it a bit closer to the surface too. It's probably like right there. See if that does better. I think even more of them went under the ground. Buddy. Try a different trace channel, maybe? No, that's definitely not it. Huh? Doesn't seem to have helped. Number of spline points. Let's give it more points. 45. Maybe I'll make this a little narrower so we can get more paths going in the right spot. No, I haven't tried. I usually just dig through the blueprints if I need to See that? So we'll go down to fewer traces again. I'm curious if it gets better results that way. Maybe more paths isn't better? Really doesn't seem like it made much of a difference. I know it's definitely meant to go down more vertical surfaces. But we like bending the rules here, so we're gonna do that. Durations per frame. Let's bump that up. See if that changes it. It seemed to help a little bit. Only a very small amount, though. Okay. Let's try readjusting this again. I apologize if you hear the kids, by the way. They can get a little rowdy at some points. We were all kids once. I still am. Just legally an adult. Hey Mom, I told you playing video games would help me one day. It's actually my mom downstairs right now. She's watching my kids. Aha, there we go. Now that's better. It still keeps leaving that gap in the middle. I wish it would stop. But look at that. Now we have a better shot at getting a good one. Now I'm trying with 128 paths. Okay. That might do it. Let's do it. It looks like I can't move the individual splines that it puts out. Just the top spline to influence these. These are based off of physics. It does little traces with physics to make these. Okay, so that's the background mesh. And then we do per path. That's definitely better. Still not flawless, but better. That's the splash mesh. Might do a little more smoothing to stop areas like this. But overall, it's a better result, and some of that I can cover up with rocks or something. We'll do more smoothing iterations, see if it evens out those rough spots. It helped. But some of that, I'm guessing, is coming from a different layer of it. I don't know if that's only the splash doing this, because that is not ideal. We'll resimulate if we need to, but I don't want to make you watch me make a waterfall for an hour. Splash. That's both of us. I'm also learning. This spot, I'm just going to have to cover it up, because when I put the spline too close to the ground, it was shooting the paths under the ground, which is problematic. But I think we will have to regenerate the paths, because it keeps making that little hump at the top. But I'll probably use some other meshes of rushing water so I can cover up that transition, make it a little more natural. I'm fine with the little hump right there. That doesn't seem unreasonable. It's the one up top that I don't want. I'm guessing it's those paths. So let's move this a little bit. Maybe inwards and outwards. See if that helps. I believe yes. The water hasn't been a huge focus just yet, but there's definitely going to be quite a bit to do with it, so I would say yes. Because I will have secrets, things like that, hidden in the water. I'm fine with that path just dropping out of existence, as long as it doesn't make a huge hump at the top. We'll try with a new seed, see if it does better. But, on the bright side, I'm learning more how to use this tool just from doing this. Oh yeah, 100% I'm planning on doing the same thing. I don't blame you. I will join you to do just that once we go online for the tech demo. Okay, it looks like that might clean up the problem we were having, because it sent the paths underground, which is better than making them sit right on the surface. I'll take that. I think for funsies, we might flood part of the map during the stream. I did it one other time, it was pretty fun. If everyone wants that, then I think we'll do it at the end of the stream. We'll just pick a part of the map and flood it. Okay, that's pretty solid. I like it. I'll probably make the river a bit higher here once I actually turn it into a river. But you definitely will be foraging in the ocean. So yes. Flash meshes. It's a vibe. I'll keep it. Especially since I'll probably end up redoing this anyways. Generate VFX. Boom. I still see pretty much no difference. Don't know why. Oh wait, no, there it is. No, that's just fog. That seems to be the only VFX that's playing. Materials, that's good. Combine them. And now we can replace the mesh from before. It's definitely a big benefit that we can use nanite with the meshes it produces, which is one of the reasons I wanted this plugin. Because if you're using nanite, you should be using it as much as possible on your map for performance. So being able to use it on a big waterfall is fantastic. It does seem to slightly change how it looks, but I imagine it should be fixable. Yeah, it makes it a little more apparent where there are gaps here. I think we can cover that up, though. Let's look at the materials. Maybe for the splashes, or per path. Yes, there are creatures that do that. I wouldn't be able to tell you which ones, because that's more of a programmer question, I would say. But yes. Micro world position offset, what is that? I don't think we really want pixel depth offset. Let's see. See how much of a difference it makes. It actually does quite a bit. I see why you're asking, though. You always hear about the idea guy and so on, so understandable. But he actually has worked on the map, and he also funds just about everything with it, so there's no way an individual one of us could have been able to afford some of the costs with the project. He tries to involve himself as much as possible, so I'd say that he does pretty much everything he can. Oh, no, you're fine. It's a reasonable question to ask. I'm sure he wouldn't mind as well. I guess we'll leave that for now. Looks like pixel depth offset wasn't really worth it for this because that's an expensive effect. But I'm going to leave that off. That's understandable. No need for apologies. So, I'm trying to remember what it was I was about to do after this. I had something specific in mind. Oh yes, I do need to add fog to this part of the redwoods. So we're going to unload this. And load more of this. Oh no! I loaded too much. Now you get to see my desktop. No, I think that it's really important for development teams to be transparent, so I have no problem answering questions like that. The only stuff I can't usually answer very well is gameplay related, since I'm entirely the map guy. Welcome to our testing map. Try a smaller region. Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely doesn't mean that your art is any less valuable. He just has a really specific idea of what he wants for the project. So I'm guessing it just didn't fit exactly what he was looking for. So I need to see where I put the last fog volume. I'm using fog volumes in the redwoods to give it that natural misty look. So that's some of it. Oh, I did forget the waterfall. There it is. I need to set it to use world partition. Oh, never mind. I already did. Okay. Fog volumes it is. Now we need to make this really huge to cover a large area here. Definitely not going to be that dense though. I'm guessing it only scales. Doesn't scale that way, it scales uniformly. Yeah. So we'll use a couple of these. And we'll just step down here so we can tune how it looks. Obviously you don't really want it looking like this. Density? It's still a little too heavy. We plan to make it the bigger trees that are for climbing because we do have to have a certain setup for it to make it work. So it won't be all of them unless there's something that the programmers figure out that I don't know about. I don't know for sure about that, but we do have a roster on our Discord, and that may have the answer you're looking for. Oh, I see. Here we go. So I'm going to leave the density the same. Adjust the fall off a little bit. Actually, I think it was pretty good at the default. Scattering distribution, I'm probably going to leave that. Actually, no, I do want that scattering bumped up. I would say that's pretty good. I just want to make sure all of the redwoods looks nice and misty. It has been a while. How are you? Praise the horseshoe crab indeed. Fully agreed. I'll make a smaller volume right here. Thing I'm wondering about, there's a slope right there and it might be obvious where the volume ends. So let's see. No, looks like it's fine. But yeah, I have this fog throughout the redwoods. I'll have to double check and make sure these settings match what we have everywhere else. So I don't want it to be too intense, but oh, I was only changing that for that one. Whoops. Point 7, 0.8. I guess we'll stick with 1. Yes, that's understandable. The forest is going well. I think the only real concern is my coast redwood and giant sequoia don't do extremely well in heat, and it's extremely hot in Texas right now, so that hasn't been ideal. But they're still growing pretty rapidly. It's just that at the moment I have some singed needles on both of them. So that has been not perfect, but they are still alive, and that's better than I expected for giant sequoia and coast redwood in Texas. Although the Japanese cedar specifically seems to be just fine in the heat. I give it full sun every day and it's growing very quickly. But when I set up these fog volumes, I put them in level instances so I can unload them at a distance. Hello there! Yeah, I've worried this whole time about getting to the summer. And it's definitely hard on them. I can see it because they look a little stressed. But they are still alive and they're still growing every day. So I think that it may not be ideal in the summer here, but I think they will survive it. So I do see I need to smooth out some of the terrain here. I guess overall, though, I can't complain because our environment is much different here than where they natively grow. So I am happy that they're surviving at all here. They may not get as big as I want as quickly as I want. But I'm going to see what I can do to make the conditions a little better for them. I added a big UV shade for them yesterday that doesn't completely block out UV, but it's supposed to block out about 70%. So I'm going to be using that during the summer because I've had to keep my dawn redwoods out of the sun entirely. during the summer because they get singed very easily. But it seems like the giant sequoia and coast redwood can take some, just not the full heat. They do drink a ridiculous amount of water though. I've been watering the giant sequoia and coast redwood 3 times a day because they drink it that quickly. Oh, some of these trees ended up in the path. Whoops. We will fix that. The plant father! I love it. I just need to get them some more friends. Which I plan to do pretty soon, but a lot of places aren't shipping those trees right now because it's their growing season. So it's not a good time to move them. So I think I have to wait until somewhere around August to order some. Because I moved them to a much bigger, it's a raised flower bed, but I filled it with soil. For each watering, I don't really do a specific amount, but I would guess probably about a gallon of water each time. I didn't create these, but I have made some. I just haven't put them in the game. I made a bunch of the other trees and small foliage, and in fact those nettles and the ferns you can see right now, I made them. But these redwoods were by an asset creator called Maui, and he actually went and photo scanned them, so they look pretty realistic. However, I did heavily modify the trees. They were originally using masked leaves, which is fine if you're not using nanite, but if you are using nanite, it causes some big performance issues, so. Did wipe that out. No more opacity masks. I'm definitely more of a carnivore player, personally. What do you think you'll be? Yeah, they're bigger, but they're definitely not big yet. So it's a lot. Not much longer until the demo. We don't really have a specific date, but it's something we're actively working towards every single day. We've been doing our pre-builds, I guess you could say, for the tech demo. We're just making sure that we fix all the big bugs, because of course there will be some bugs, since it's still early development, but we want to fix the biggest ones before we put it out. Looks like I got the trees out of the path. I'm not a fan of that log, though. Yep, same here. About like that. It just depends. I made a lot of the things on the map myself, but some things are ones that we paid for, but if we pay for any, we're very picky about the quality of it, so it needs to be good for us to use it. I'm gonna make some clearings here. This looks like a really good spot for one. That is for me to fix. It's something that I'm actively focusing on, and I actually heard about the comment this morning because the rest of the team was asking me a little bit about what I'm going to do with it. But it is something I'm actively working on. I'm trying to maintain a high level of performance like we currently have, but also we don't want visual issues like that. So it is something that'll be addressed. Oh yes, I feel the same. We actually have somebody working on some of the village houses for the trees right now, and they look amazing. I'm loving it. No, this is not that grass. I'm glad to hear it. I definitely will be fixing it. Mainly what I'm trying to do is, I could immediately just set it to coal further than it does, so it doesn't pop in. But that wouldn't be the best solution for performance. And it's a really big game with good graphics, and I want to make sure we are able to maintain those graphics while having good performance. So I'm trying to come up with a more creative solution that will allow me to still coal some of it without it being so obvious. So I could, just set it right now to coal higher, but it's not the best solution. So I want to make sure we use a good solution when we do it. Yes, in fact, the skeletons are already on the map. Although they aren't covering every square inch yet, but most of it. What does this look like? I like to have a little bit of something in these clearings. That does look pretty interesting. I think I'll use it. Good stuff. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to use complex collisions or anything like that. Let's actually make this bigger because these are giant sequoias. Oh yes. Yes, bigger. I'm very excited. What these look like. I just like to put a few things around in these clearings. Give it something interesting. Oh, I actually made these kind of hard to see because they're small. But there are some clovers you'll find here that I made. Still deciding which biome I should add that grass to, Islander. Any suggestions? Turn down the camera speed. Ah, yes, I understand. No blame here. I just really like putting mossy stuff in the redwoods. It fits. Make sure it's not sticking up. It is. So that's why I don't really use this particular mesh very often, because it mostly sticks out of the ground, and that's not really great. This could use subsurface scattering if it doesn't already. I agree, I like it. Yeah, and I think meadows would be a good place for it. I also made some other grass, so I'll send that to you in a bit so you can see if you want it. I make a bunch of different kinds, so... I did sort out the waterfall. It's not perfect, but it's serviceable for now. I feel I'm probably going to end up remaking some of that cliff, so I didn't want to spend too long on it. Yeah, I agree. I wanted a more open look to the meadows. It just looks the way it does right now while I'm experimenting with foliage distribution. However, that's about to change because I've been focusing a lot on the meadows recently. This... I guess we'll have HLODs. Probably add a couple more of these clearings around here. Ah, excellent. I haven't looked at my Discord messages yet today, so I didn't know. Well, it's perfect you say that then, because the grass that Islander's talking about is some that I made recently, and it is more of a golden color. I'm gonna put some of the fir trees right here. Because I want it to be like a little clearing, but not completely clear, because that's just boring. Yeah, you have a point. I made a few different kinds of grass though, so I'll send them to you and you can see what you want and where you want it. Because I'd like to use as much original content as we can so we can have unique things, and I know you feel the same, so. It would be awesome to go to a place like that. I feel like most of the dreams I remember from when I was little were scary dreams. I'm glad to hear it. It's about half and half stuff I made and stuff that we had. Like in these nettles, I made those. And the clovers you'll see. Some of the others, the ferns, I made those too. Ah yes, here are the clovers. I'm glad to hear it. I just enjoy making things. So when it's a huge map like this that I love the game and the environment, I just want it to be unique. Luckily, Islander and I think alike on that, so generally we agree on how the map should look. Did you have a lot of tornadoes where you were growing up? Oh, I fully agree. Actually, I want to be a predator in the redwoods, but that's a different story. I think I want to make a spot where it's kind of a clearing, but really dense on ferns just because I can. Like right here. This is it. I'm so jealous. I wish I lived around mountains. There are some mountains in Texas, but I've never seen any really big ones here. This is going to be the fern spot you're about to see. Yes, I would love to see. That's understandable. And I'll be ahead of all of you. Better watch out. Because, I'll be here for a couple hours on the stream, but then I'll spend 10 more the same day on the map. And here I was thinking that nobody would want to watch the map being made, because a lot of it's slow and repetitive to make things, but I was wrong. Oh, I want to add a bunch of ferns to this spot just because I can. Yes, look at them. Look at all those ferns. My god. Just as it should be. Ferns everywhere. I am slick. And I'll hide many more. You're just jealous, bro. So I say, since it's near the end of the time I stream, we should flood somewhere. So, last time we did the meadows, I'm thinking... maybe we'll do part of the jungle somewhere. Yes, I should definitely save. Luckily, I'm caught up on saving right now. This will probably take a moment. This is a spot of the map I haven't loaded in a few days, so it's gonna have to rebuild it. Oh yes. I may not be keeping the water simulation, but sometimes you just have to flood things, just because. Oh yes, it is the goop. Capital goop. Sir, you have committed capital goop. Why yes. Yes, I have. It is multiplayer. So let's do... I think over here. I'm gonna send it. Just so you're aware, the FPS is going to crawl while I do this, so be prepared for a choppy stream. Oh, what is this? Easter egg folder? Huh. Wonder what those could be. That would seriously be awesome. We've looked... I haven't really looked into it heavily yet, but we've definitely talked about big disaster events like that. I definitely want to do it. Just have to find out how doable it is. Oh my god, my FPS. $20,000 on world height. We got it, boy. I agree. I also want floods. Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where you have to sacrifice a little FPS. It's worth it. See, if we did it in-game, it wouldn't be bad. But when you're in the editor, it's a lot heavier. Oh no. And I'm actually having to simulate the water. If we did flooding, I would be simulating it beforehand. We need a bunch of water sources. We don't want just a little stream, we're gonna flood it. Don't ever go full send. Oops. Just you wait. We're up to 80 water sources now. Now I'm going to save this because I'm about to double the amount. And you just never know. Haha. There we go. 180 water sources. We're doing it. Let's just wait right here. Let me see, I think it'll make it over here. Oh my god. It's beautiful. Look at it. Glorious. I have not been in an earthquake. I actually kind of want to, just so I can experience it. Look at all the spikes. It's terrible. But just you wait. We can still turn on collisions for the trees, because right now it's not reacting to the trees. It's beautiful. I know. Don't you love sharp water? That is just intense. And now let's set it to where it actually picks up tree collisions. And we're going to have even more water sources. Again, because we can. We only do chaos around these parts. Yes. Okay, so now we're up to 360 water sources. This is going to be absolute chaos. So let's wait right here. Look at that, I'm getting like 5 FPS. This is it, boys. We are our own chaos gods. Don't be surprised if it crashes. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Utter chaos. I should set it to be a little more accurate so we get... Oh my god. It's beautiful. And it's still rising too. Look at that. Is that not the best water you've ever seen? Set it to be more accurate. This will probably crash it, just for the record. Look at that. That is beautiful. See how it's doing over here. I vote we have a server-wide water spike rave every so often. My god, I'm getting like 2 FPS. Exactly, you're witnessing the extinction event. This is it, boys. and gals. But we are all boys on this holy day. But yes, it is time for my lunch, so I think I'm gonna grab lunch, but we should probably clear this off first, before there's a build and they're like, oh my god, what's happening? Yeah, I almost couldn't run that. That was amazing. But yes, thank you all for joining me. And sorry, I was focusing on my kids. They were screeching outside the door. Thank you everyone for joining me. This week on Thursday, I have to switch up my schedule a little bit. My mom normally watches my kids while I'm streaming, but she will be at a doctor's appointment, so I'll probably be streaming on Friday instead. But we'll see. If I can just do it later in the day on Thursday, I might do that. But I'll try to let everybody know ahead of time. But thank you all again for watching, and I will be back either Thursday or Friday.